Chapter 547. That black flowing light was like an angry dragon or a shooting star. A lot of people there did not even have the time to react before they saw Yuan Hao throwing out a spear attack toward Yi Chen. It was an unexpected attack, as if it was meant to catch people off guard. With just a little bit of carelessness, one would be at a huge disadvantage, or even be wounded badly. Despicable. Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were both furious. Yi Chen did not have the time to stand up. His right hand reached toward his waist and took out his gold sword. The sword tore apart the air, clashing with the spear tip. Chin. Sparks flew everywhere as the chair Yi Chen was sitting on turned into dust. This sword intent. Yuan Hao wanted to embarrass Yi Chen, since he could tell that Yi Chen was only at peak level early seas of Soul's realm. Even if he could fight beyond his cultivation, it would not be that crazy. But, his cultivation had already reached peak level mid-seas of Soul's realm, and his martial spirit had reached peak level rank 3 as well. That unexpected spear attack should be able to make Yi Chen look quite bad. But, that sword attack just now contained a normal Jin Yuan, but the sword intent was extra powerful. It had shattered the martial intent that he had infused into his attack. Demon Monument Fist. After that spear attack, Yuan Hao's left hand left the spear body as he flipped his wrist, grabbing a huge black Jin Yuan stone tablet and smashing it down, trying to suppress Yi Chen. Shoo! The black Jin Yuan stone tablet had not fully materialized yet when a beam of sword chi flashed past, cutting the stone tablet in half. After cutting the stone tablet open, Yi Chen lifted his head to look at Yuan Hao. The latter had missed 2 attacks, so he used the power of the chi explosion to fly out dozens of meters into the air. That rich brown chi spread out from his body and eventually gathered on the tip of his spear. That spear light suddenly shot out from the tip of the spear, stretching and stretching like a snake's tongue, giving people an endless feeling of fear. No wonder you are so arrogant. You do have some power. But, it is still not enough. Looking down at Yi Chen, a cruel smile appeared on Yuan Hao's face. Use your demonification ability. Otherwise, the situation will be very ugly. Pointing the gold sword at the ground, Yi Chen sounded very calm. It was this calm tone that made Yuan Hao's veins pop out on his forehead. An ant asking him to use all of his power. Nothing was more ridiculous and infuriating than this. Many of the experts from the Yuan family were also full of disdain. In their eyes, Yi Chen was no different from a clown. Soon, he would know what humiliation was. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Big brother, remember to count my share as well. Teach him an unforgettable lesson. With the wedding paused, the angriest person would be Yuan Yi. He had not expected that he would be wounded like this, especially by a young man who was 10 years younger than him. Not only was Yuan Hao shocked, everyone present was also a bit shocked. Impressive. That sword attack was not that powerful in terms of power, it could only be considered normal. But, it was able to increase its speed during the attack, making it even faster than it actually was. A few of them had seen through the mystery of that sword attack, so they praised in their minds. Bastard! Yuan Hao's eyes turned red as he was about to fight back. Dang! Taking out the gold sword, Yi Chen knocked on the bottom half of the long black spear. He then used his power to make Yuan Hao's right arm go numb as well. The long spear flew out of his hand and turned into a shooting star, shooting through all of the buildings in the distance before finally stabbing into an inner mountain. I told you to use your demonization power as soon as possible. After kicking away Yuan Hao, Yi Chen stood in the air. Pooh! Yuan Hao kept puking out blood. The wound on his shoulder had shattered his protective Jin Yuan layer within a second. That kick from Yi Chen had even cracked his chest bone. Yi Chen, this brat! He had been hiding his power when he was fighting with me. Murong Wu, who was on the ground, had a smile on his face. Murong Jishui said, he had told me that if he used all of his power, you would not be able to take 10 attacks from him. 10 attacks? So powerful. Murong Wu was a bit surprised. It should be true. Looking back at the time of his rise, have I ever seen him lose? That is true. But Yuan Hao had not used his demonization power yet. I wonder how much more powerful he would be after partial demonization. Cough! Puking out another mouthful of blood, Yuan Hao looked at Yi Chen with hatred. Very good. You managed to wound me. It has been a long time since I last got wounded. Yi Chen said lightly, do you still want to continue? Do you think you have one? What a joke. Next, I will show you what it means to pay you back in double. Yuan Hao groaned. His body tensed up all of a sudden, and waves of black qi could be seen coming out of his arms. Both of his arms seemed to be burning with a black flame. Both arms demonized. No, right chest demonized as well. Morong Jishui's pupils shrank. His opponent was indeed one of the top young warriors of the Yuan family. In terms of demonization, he was even more powerful than him. It was only his control that was weaker than him, since he was a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior after all. With both arms and right chest demonized, Yuan Hao's qi had increased by more than 30%. His right arm's attacking power had increased by 40 to 50%, and his left arm had also increased by 30%. All of a sudden, the whole sky had been dyed black. It was an endless darkness that even devoured the sunlight. Your demonization speed is too slow. There was no reason for Yi Chen to just watch his opponent demonize. He straightened his gold sword and a crescent-shaped sword qi swept out, cutting off half of the clouds in the sky. As for Yuan Hao, he was blown miles away by the sword qi, breaking a mountain. Little brat Yi, is this the fairness you seek? Yuan Jin's eyebrows twitched as he stared at Yi Chen angrily. Wang Shi sneered, Headmaster Yuan, earlier, when your son attacked Yi Chen unexpectedly, why didn't you say anything? Now, it is your son's turn, and you are trying to talk about fairness? Even if you don't feel ashamed, I feel ashamed for you. Wang Shi, shut up. What kind of attitude is this? Before Yuan Jin could say anything, Yao Yifeng stared at Wang Shi with a displeased expression. Yan Kuei and Wang Shi had the best relationship, so he argued back, Second leader, what did Brother Wang say wrong? You cannot speak for an outsider. Yao Yifeng said coldly, Yi Chen has caused so much trouble and brought shame to our Dragon God Heaven Palace. From now on, you are not allowed to speak for him. Otherwise, you will be punished according to the palace rules. Hearing him, Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were both furious. The two exchanged a look and made up their minds. Boom! The mountain exploded, and Yuan Hao rushed out with blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. As the eldest son of the headmaster of the Yuan family, Yuan Hao had 3 top-ranked defensive items on him, 1 chest armor and 2 arm guards. That sword attack from Yi Chen was very powerful, but it did not break through his defensive items. It had only wounded him a little bit, and after his body demonized, it was still within his bearable range. Damn it! You will regret what you have done. Demon Gold Flash. Yuan Hao reached out his right hand, and 3 inches away from his palm, a couple meters big dark gold light ball appeared. It spun at an extremely fast speed before being compressed into the size of a fist. The super dense Xin Yuan vibration had messed up the natural Yuan Qi in the air, and thunder and lightning interweaved in the sky. It is the Demon Gold Flash. Alright, I will wound him badly with 1 attack. Yuan Jin and Yuan Ye's eyes brightened. The Demon Gold Flash was one of the most commonly used martial arts of the demons. The principle was to concentrate the demon power to a high degree and then release it in the shape of a ray. The powerful power could pierce through the ground within a second, and warriors of the same realm would not be able to handle it at all. The reason why the demons' martial arts were so powerful was because of the powerful bodies of the demons. Only with a powerful body could they perform the extremely demanding martial arts of the demons. Normally, a human demon would have to demonize 3 parts of their body before they could perform the Demon Gold Flash that was compressed with Xin Yuan. Of course, normal demons did not have the martial arts of the demons, so no matter how many parts they had demonized, it would be useless. It was the advantage of the Yuan family. Fall now. Yuan Hao pushed out his Xin Yuan, and the dark gold light ball shot out like a dark gold ray. Its speed was unbelievably fast. Wherever the dark gold ray went, the space pattern would be squeezed together, which was an extremely horrifying scene. Not good. It is the martial arts of the demons. Murong Jishui could not help but stand up, looking at Yi Chen nervously. Chapter 548. This attack is quite powerful. It has displayed its attacking power to its fullest. Yi Chen could tell with a single glance that the demon gold flash was an attack that focused on attacking power. There was nothing special about it, it only had a horrifying destructive power. Perhaps it was lacking in attacking techniques, or rather, it did not have any attacking techniques at all. It was only a straight line of destruction. But, its speed had made up for that. Hundreds of meters of distance was no different from dozens of meters, it could be covered within a flash. There was only one way to avoid the demon gold flash, and that was to avoid it with his shocking speed. If he were to be scratched even a little bit, he would die a horrible death. With my speed, it would be a bit hard to avoid it. My sword light flying spell also needs a certain amount of time to activate. Plus, it would require me to take off my protective Jin Yuan layer, so my external defense would be close to zero. Once I am hit, the consequences would be even more severe. It seems like I will have to expose some of my power. With that thought in mind, Yi Chen's eyes suddenly turned sharp. Without backing out, he held his gold sword with both of his hands and waved it down. Almost at the same moment when Yi Chen waved out his gold sword, the dark gold ray appeared 10 meters in front of Yi Chen in a flash. Then, it was blocked out by a sword light that was almost completely golden in color. That sword light was not still, but vibrating. Each blink of an eye, it would vibrate for more than 2,000 times. There was no sound. The second the golden sword light and the dark gold ray clashed, the whole world went silent. Within a radius of dozens of miles, no sound could be heard at all. Everything had been shattered by the vibrating air, disappearing into nothingness. Without a sound, some of the buildings of the Yuan family down below started to crumble, turning into dust like sand. The good thing was that the location of the battle was high enough, otherwise, the area of destruction would be even bigger. Boom! The silence lasted for about 3 blinks of an eye. After 3 blinks of an eye, a huge ball of light flashed, making the sun in the sky seem dimmer. Within thousands of miles, the sea of clouds directly evaporated, and a cloudless and sunny scene appeared. Right then, the chi flow explosion was not over yet. The second the flash weakened, a circle of knife-like dark gold pattern spread out. Wherever the pattern reached, as long as it was higher than the height of the pattern, it would all be sliced off, leaving behind a smooth surface. Pooh! Yuan Hao did not have the power to fight back at all. He was blown away by the dark gold ripple. His top-ranked chest armor and arm guards were making creaking noises, as if they were going to shatter at any second. That sharp shockwave even traveled through the defensive treasures into his body, making him puke out a lot of blood. The shockwave is so powerful. Everyone watched as Yuan Hao was sent flying, and they all sucked in a breath of cold air. Normally, shockwaves wouldn't be able to hurt the combatants. After all, the shockwaves would spread out in all directions, and once they spread out, their power would quickly decrease, unless they were at the center of the shockwave. However, Yuan Hao was hundreds of meters away from the center of the shockwave. By the way, Yi Chen is only 10 meters away from the site of the explosion. I wonder how he is doing. His injuries are probably worse than Yuan Hao's. Most likely. A lot of people curiously looked at where Yi Chen was. In the sky, the flashes continued, but compared to before, they were 100 times weaker. Through the flashes, they could vaguely see a figure inside. Ha! It is so close. He must be badly wounded. Seeing that, Yuan Yi and Yuan Jin both thought that Yi Chen had taken in all of the shockwave. At such a close distance, even if he was at late Sea of Soul's realm, his protective Jin Yuan would not be able to handle it. Plus, Yi Chen was only at peak level early Sea of Soul's realm. Yi Chen will be okay, right? Murong Wu said worriedly. Murong Jishui did not say anything as he stared at the flashes without blinking. Pop! The flashes disappeared, revealing Yi Chen's body. Yi Chen maintained the posture of waving his sword. On top of the gold sword, there was still a trace of dark gold qi surrounding it, spreading out to the sides. He did not puke blood. Yuan Yi was shocked. No need to rush. Some of the more serious wounds would not be visible from the outside. Yuan Jin frowned. He did not believe that Yi Chen would be completely fine. Who? Letting out a long breath, Yi Chen's body relaxed. His gold sword pointed at the ground as he looked down at the crowd. Eventually, his gaze locked onto Yuan Jin and his son. Yuan Hao has lost. Can you take out the spell on her now? Yi Chen was talking about Murong Qingqing. She is really not wounded. Yuan Jin and his son looked very bad. At the same time, they were secretly shocked by Yi Chen's power. Although Yuan Hao was not as powerful as Yuan Yi, he was definitely one of the top spirit warriors. Even if he ran into some of the weaker master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors, he would still be able to survive. Yuan Yi was more powerful than him in terms of martial arts and his perfect demi-demon bloodline. Hurry! Bring Hao back! Yuan Jin ordered one of the powerful warriors of the Yuan family, then said to Yi Chen with a low voice, I do not know what you are talking about. Yi and Lady Qingqing are both willing. This marriage is not a problem at all. Otherwise, she would not come to our Yuan family. My daughter and your son are both willing. What kind of joke is this? They did not even know each other before, did they? Murong Jishui said angrily. Yuan Jin stared at Murong Jishui coldly. The relationship between a man and a woman would not be limited by time. Murong Jishui, you do not want your daughter to marry into our Yuan family because of what happened back then. I will tell you again, our Yuan family did not force her. You separating from her is something between the two of you, and it has nothing to do with our Yuan family. Whether it has anything to do with me or not, I know it very well. But now, please let my daughter go back to normal. Otherwise, do not blame me for being rude. Mentioning his first girlfriend, Murong Jishui was a bit emotional as he said with a cold look in his eyes. Yuan Jin was not angry at all as he said lightly, yes, we did do something to your daughter. But, it was because we did not want her to be affected by you. Everyone here has a family, so you should know how a father affects his daughter. For my son's happiness, we had to do this. You restricted my daughter, and you still think you are right? Let me ask you again, will you take off the spell or not? Murong Jishui stood up. I suggest that you do not do anything reckless. This is the Yuan family, and you are a member of the demi-demon family. You better watch your words and behavior. Otherwise, I would not mind locking you up in the Yuan family for you to reflect on. Uncle, do not do anything reckless. Let me take care of this. Yi Chen passed on his Jin Yuan to Murong Jishui. Murong Jishui tried his best to take a couple of deep breaths before sitting down with anger. He knew that even if he made a scene, it would only make things worse, and it would only benefit the Yuan family. Right now, he could only rely on Yi Chen and Yi Chen's background. It seems like this is very complicated. We will just watch the show. Who cares who is right or wrong? Everyone on the scene sat there casually, drinking tea while chatting. For them, it did not matter who was right or wrong. His body slowly landed as Yi Chen stood in the middle of the plaza. He said with a cold voice, I will say it again. Take off the spell on her. This is our Yuan family's business. You do not have the right to interfere. Plus, she is destined to be my wife. If you dare to stand in my way again, I will not guarantee that I will not do anything. Yuan Yi looked at Yi Chen provocatively. The threat was obvious. Lifting up his gold sword slowly, Yi Chen said lightly, what kind of dog thing do you think you are? You only know how to use this kind of dirty tricks. How dare you call me a dog thing? Yuan Yi was furious. Yuan Jin's face darkened as well. Yi Chen calling Yuan Yi a dog thing was the same as insulting him and the whole Yuan family. How dare you? Kneel down and apologize. Otherwise, you will not be able to walk out of the Yuan family today. Dozens of Yuan family warriors stood out, their chi power almost exploding out. You are the one who is presumptuous. Yi Chen is a martial genius that the leader of the Dragon God Heaven Palace has chosen. You dare to ask him to kneel down? Do you not want to live anymore? Wang Shi and Yan Kuei stood up together. He dares to bully our Yuan family. How are we going to deal with this? Even if he does not kneel down, he will have to apologize to the whole Yuan family. Yes. He has to apologize. One by one. Don't even think about leaving without apologizing. Our Yuan family is not that easy to bully. Apologize? What are you apologizing for? You should be lucky that I did not ask you to apologize to my brother disciple Yi. Yan Kuei said without a care in the world. Headmaster. Right then, that Yuan family warrior who had been sent out flew back with the badly wounded Yuan Hao on his back. Yuan Jin glanced at the unconscious Yuan Hao, and his face darkened even more. Yi Chen, you have wounded my son badly. This will not end easily. Right now, I will give you one chance. Leave the Yuan family immediately. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. I can leave. But before that, I will undo the spell on her first. That is impossible. Yuan Jin rejected without hesitation. If it is impossible, then what else is there to talk about? I think this marriage was forced by your Yuan family. Brother Yi, take her and leave. Whoever dares to stop you will be going against our Dragon God Heaven Palace. Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were helping him from the back. You two, shut up. Yao Yifeng was furious. These two had helped Yi Chen time and time again, and did not even put him in their eyes. His heavy chi covered the two immediately. I respect you as the second leader. But, if you do things unfairly, then we will not listen to you. You will not listen to me. Yao Yifeng squinted his eyes, looking very dangerous. Father, let me fight with him. If I win, then he will have nothing to say. Yuan Yi could not help but suggest. Yuan Jin hesitated, are you 100% sure? He had already noticed that Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were obviously supporting Yi Chen. As long as they were there, the Yuan family would not dare to do anything to Yi Chen, and the wedding would not be able to continue. But, Yi Chen's power had shocked him quite a bit, and he knew that it would not be easy to take on him. Yuan Yi licked his lips and said, don't worry. I am 120% sure that I can take him on. I will only win, not lose. Alright then. Remember, use all of your power. Do not hold back. Chapter 549. Yuan Jin hated Yi Chen to the bone. He had first killed Mo Luo, then messed up the wedding ceremony, and ruined everything for the Yuan family. This hatred would never be forgotten. One day, when the Dragon King passed away, he would let him know what it meant to be worse than death, and what it meant to regret. As for now, he would let Yi Chen get back some interest first. Show mercy. I will not. Morong Qingcheng will only be my woman. Competing with me for a woman, he will have to live under my shadow for the rest of his life. I will attack and humiliate him all the time. Under that endless attack and humiliation, what else can he achieve? Once he has nothing left, Yuan Yi will kill him like killing a dog. With a wicked smile on his face, Yuan Yi, who was wearing a bridegroom outfit, walked out with big steps. He pointed his finger at Yi Chen and said, Yi Chen, do you dare to battle with me? Before, it was your brother Yuan Hao, and now it is you. Do I have to challenge you one by one? Yi Chen said sarcastically. What? You don't dare? If you do not dare, then leave the Yuan family now. From now on, do not appear in front of me, Yuan Yi. Why not? But, what would I get if I win against you? Yuan Yi said, if you win against me, my father will naturally remove the spell on her. On the other hand, if you lose, then this has nothing to do with you. You will leave immediately. Whoever dares to break the promise, the other party can kill them. How about that? Are you satisfied? Yuan Jin, do you agree? Yi Chen looked at Yuan Jin. Yuan Jin said lightly, Little Ye's meaning is my meaning. I hope you will not go back on your words. As he spoke, Yi Chen jumped up into the sky. Yuan Yi sneered, flying up as well. Thousands of meters up in the sky, the two of them maintained a distance of 500 meters, facing each other. The biting cold wind blew at their clothes and hair, giving them a trace of killing intent. Yi Chen, be careful of Yuan Ye's special power. Although I do not know what his special power is, but according to the special power awakened by the perfect demi-demon bloodline in the history of the demi-demons, it might be something related to speed or defense. These two are the most common and practical ones. Down below, Murong Jishui passed on his Jin Yuan to tell Yi Chen to be careful. Yi Chen replied without batting an eyelid, Don't worry, uncle. No matter what his talent is, I will defeat him. If it were before he had trained his void-shattering finger art to 50%, Yi Chen would indeed be afraid of Yuan Ye's special power. But now, he did not need to be afraid at all. All he needed to do was to be cautious, since no special power would be able to increase one's power to such a ridiculous level. Being able to increase it by 1-fold would already be the best it could be. On the other hand, his void-shattering finger could easily break through the protective Jin Yuan of experts of the same level when he had only comprehended a tiny bit of it. The only thing lacking was its lethality. Right now, his void-shattering finger was more than 100 times stronger than before. It could be said that the protective Jin Yuan of Sea of Soul Realm experts was no different from a piece of paper in front of his void-shattering finger. Its lethality was even more incomparable. So confident? Murong Jishui had never seen Yi Chen's void-shattering finger art before, so he did not know where he got his confidence from. But of course, it would be great if he was confident. Are you ready? Yuan Yi looked at Yi Chen with confidence. We can start any time. Yi Chen placed his right hand on his gold sword. Pap! 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 The two had not even exchanged blows yet, but their aggressive auras had already clashed together, bringing up countless air swirls. Once one reached the Sea of Souls realm, the aura would no longer be something intangible. Because of the martial will contained within, its attacking power would be quite powerful. It would be able to wound astral-reaching realm warriors badly. Of course, the aura did not have a physical shape, and was only a mental attack. Therefore, it would not be as powerful as the attacks between astral-reaching realm warriors. But, it was still quite shocking. Boom! The last wave of aura attacks seemed to be the two using all of their power. A circle of transparent patterns spread out, changing the color of the sky. Rank 4 Martial Spirit. Yi Chen had tested out the rank of Yuan Ye's martial spirit. It was rank 4, which was equivalent to master level, which was a lot more powerful than Yuan Hao. Added with his peak level mid-Sea of Souls realm cultivation, it was extremely powerful. No wonder he was so confident. Yi Chen's martial spirit has reached rank 4. A joyful expression flashed past Yuan Jin's face as he thought to himself, it seems like letting Yi travel in the sky martial region for 1 year was the right decision. Within 1 year, his martial will had already started to shine, and his martial spirit had reached rank 4. But, this brat's aura is no weaker than Yi Chen's. His sword spirit should be at least at peak level rank 4. It was impossible for Yuan Ji not to know that Yi Chen's cultivation was at peak level early Sea of Souls realm. To be able to compete with Yi Chen's aura, his sword spirit must be at least half a rank higher. Plus, using his sword intent to attack had made up for the disadvantage of his cultivation. If I have guessed it right, your sword spirit should be at peak level rank 4, right? Yuan Yi was a bit surprised. So what? It was just a test, so Yi Chen did not use his slaughter sword intent. His aura contained the destruction sword intent that had not been combined yet, which was at peak level rank 4. Very good. It will be more interesting to beat you like this. Yuan Yi had just returned from the Sky Martial region not too long ago. Back there, he had been beaten by a lot of young warriors with peak-level rank for martial spirits or sword spirits. Plus, those young warriors were different from Yi Chen, they were all very powerful. Even with his talent, he could not do anything about it. So, he had been frustrated for a long time. And now, Yi Chen's sword spirit was also at peak level rank 4, which gave him another reason to humiliate Yi Chen and vent his anger. Water Beast Cage. Trap him. Yuan Yi groaned as both of his hands formed a spell at an extremely high speed. All of a sudden, a shocking amount of water yuan qi gathered from all directions, attaching onto the cage that was formed from Jin Yuan. This cage was pushed by the water profound and formed quickly. Judging from its shape, it seemed to be even more powerful than the Iron Palm Master's fire cage. But the Iron Palm Master was a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior, so his profound comprehension and control would be even more powerful. With a clank, the cage descended from the sky, trapping Yi Chen inside. You want to trap me? Yi Chen took out his gold sword and threw out a sword attack onto the cage. Crack! The cage was broken with a loud noise. Yuan Yi was not in a hurry as he said with a creepy voice, "It is not over yet." The final form. The broken cage was repaired at an extreme speed. At the same time, a toad-like Jin Yuan water beast appeared on top of the cage. With the toad-like water beast's help, the surface of the cage shone with a green light, looking like it was made from solid crystals. Mid-rank profound sense martial art. Yi Chen finally understood. No wonder it was even more powerful than the Iron Palm Master's fire cage. It turned out to be a mid-rank profound sense martial art. However, his opponent's understanding of the profound sense of water was not that impressive. It seemed like he could only perform 30% of this profound sense martial art. Break! Jin Yuan vibrated as Yi Chen performed his gold resonant radiant sword art. Chin! The sturdiness of the water beast cage was not as powerful as the Iron Palm Master's fire cage after all. Under Yi Chen's most powerful sword attack, it was shattered into pieces. Killing water fist art. Yuan Yi had never thought about using the water beast cage to trap Yi Chen completely. After all, his achievement in it was not that high yet, so it could only be used to gain an advantage for himself. But now that his goal had been achieved, he roared as a circle of black pattern appeared on his right fist. It covered half of the sky, turning that area into a world of water. He threw out a heavy punch toward Yi Chen, who had already used up all of his previous power. Reverse Sky Thunder Cut. Yi Chen held his green longsword with his left hand and threw out a sword attack. Bang! The power of the killing water fist art was extremely powerful. Yi Chen was blown away. But, he had used his slaughter sword intent for this sword attack, so he was not wounded at all. Down! That fist attack had gotten him a bigger advantage, so Yuan Yi chased after him. His body kept flashing, and his speed was extremely fast, no slower than Yi Chen's. He then threw out one powerful killing water fist art after another. The whole sky was filled with black fist shadows and water patterns. Putting the longsword back into its scabbard, Yi Chen flicked out his 5 fingers on his left hand, shooting out beams of Lotus Heart Sword Chi. Because there were so many of them, they formed into a Sword Chi tornado. With the sheer amount of Sword Chi, it cancelled out all of Yuan Yi's fist power. What? Finger Sword Chi? So many! Yuan Yi thought that Yi Chen's most powerful attack would be his gold resonant radiance attack. Therefore, he had used the water beast cage to trap Yi Chen, forcing him to use up his gold resonant radiance attack first so that he would not be able to use it again in a short period of time. But, he did not expect that Yi Chen would also have the Sword Chi tornado, which was extremely concentrated. Dang! Dang! In that critical moment, Yuan Yi crossed his hands in front of his body and formed a 6-star shield in front of him. The shield looked like a human-sized crystal. It was very thick in the middle, and the 2 sides of the shield extended out in a streamlined shape. It was the defensive profound sense martial art that he was most proud of. The sword chi was endless, suppressing Yuan Yi so much that he could not move at all. All of a sudden, the sword chi tornado disappeared, and a wave of golden sword light rushed over, landing on Yuan Ye's shield. Boom! Like a crystal that had been shattered, the shield was shattered. Right then, Yi Chen was already close to Yuan Yi. Yuan Yi lifted up his head, a creepy light shining in his eyes. I have been waiting for you. My special power. Defense enhancement. Compared to Yuan Hao's demonization power, Yuan Ye's speed of performing his special power was extremely fast. Two sharp horns suddenly grew out of his head. The base of the horns was extremely thick, with a spiral pattern on it. The tip of the horns shone with a cold light. Once they touched the air, a fist-sized vacuum space was created. The second the horns appeared, Yuan Ye's skin and protective Jin Yuan layer had changed. It had turned slightly black, and its thickness had increased by a couple of times. This special power was similar to the demonization power, but it was even more powerful. The strengthening of his defense had increased Yuan Ye's power as well. More importantly, he could now ignore his opponent's attacks, and only needed to attack with all his might. Back out! Yuan Yi threw out his light black fist. It was still the killing water fist art, but its power had been increased by a lot. Space patterns started to appear on the surface of his fist. Yi Chen's well-prepared sword attack had already arrived, and it clashed with his opponent's fist. Dang! A metal exploding sound was heard as the two backed out in different directions. But the difference was that Yuan Yi managed to stop himself from backing out very soon and charged at Yi Chen again. He sneered, after the strengthening of my defense, my endurance has increased, and my attacking speed will be even faster. Oh yeah! The slaughter sword spirit inside Yi Chen's soul ocean let out a sword cry as its slaughter sword intent poured out. Chapter 550. Boom! Yuan Ye's fist had arrived. It was not a big light black fist, but it filled up the whole sky. Even the sunlight had been blocked out as it landed on Yi Chen's head. If this fist landed, even if Yi Chen's defense was twice as powerful, he would still be shocked into a retard. Yi Chen's eyes were cold. His gold sword vibrated at an extremely high frequency as he threw out a sword attack to welcome the incoming attack. The gold resonant radiant sword attack had been trained to 90%, and it could vibrate 2,800 times within a second, which was close to 3,000 times. Once it reached 3,000 times, the gold resonant radiant sword attack would reach the completion level, and its power would definitely be equivalent to the top profound sense martial arts. The gold resonant radiant sword attack was already an extremely powerful profound sense sword attack. Normal profound sense sword attacks would be slightly weaker than it. Whoo! The fist and the sword clashed together, and the sound wave that exploded was extremely horrifying. The whole sky seemed to be filled with this metal exploding sound. Because of the loud sound, no one seemed to be able to hear it clearly. Loud sound. It was just that the sound was too loud, and it was beyond their ability to hear it. In the center of the battle, that light black and gold light ball had devoured the two. The light ball expanded to 100 meters wide, and the air was pushed out like a ball, forming a 1,000 meters wide vacuum ball. One big and one small, the two balls resonated with each other. In the center of the light ball, Yi Chen and Yuan Yi still maintained their attacking posture, their fists and the gold sword clashing together. Boom! The two balls exploded at the same time. The buildings of the Yuan family were shaking, looking like they were about to be destroyed. All of the powerful warriors of the Yuan family worked together to create a massive Jin Yuan wall, blocking out the blasting wave. So, it would not affect the buildings of the Yuan family at all. As for the sky above, the shocking sky had been dented, turning into a half-sphere. Endless amounts of wind, fire, thunder, and water leaked out, looking colorful and eye-catching. It was like the end of the world had arrived, and the sky was going to bring down his anger. The two had only clashed for a second before separating. But, just like Yuan Yi had said, after performing his special defensive power, his endurance and attacking speed had increased. He had only backed out for dozens of meters before stepping on the air and shooting toward Yi Chen. Let's see what other tricks you have. Yuan Yi was very clear that the ace attacks could not be performed twice at the same time. This time, Yi Chen had used up his gold resonant radiance attack. If he wanted to perform it again, he would have to wait for the next second, and the next second, his fist would land on Yi Chen's body. Dual sword style. Of course, Yi Chen knew about it. Indeed, the ace-killing attacks would take a certain amount of time to prepare. Normally, the more powerful the killing attack, the longer the preparation time would be. Of course, it would also depend on the warrior's cultivation. If the warrior's cultivation was high enough, then there would not be such a problem, because the higher the cultivation, the more powerful the killing attack would be. Therefore, the preparation time would not be extended. Right now, he was at peak level early Sea of Soul's realm, and his gold resonant radiance attack was not weaker than Yuan Ye's killing water fist art. Therefore, the preparation time would be a bit longer than his opponent, which would be his advantage. Therefore, he could not continue to perform his gold resonant radiance attack. But, even without the gold resonant radiance attack, he still had the Sky Thunder Cut and the reverse Sky Thunder Cut to form his dual sword style. In terms of power, it would only be slightly weaker than the gold resonant radiance attack. Most importantly, the dual sword style consisted of 2 attacks, and both of them were way weaker than the gold resonant radiance attack. The preparation time would be very short, and he would be able to perform it before Yuan Yi. Shoo! The sword light, one in the front and the other in the back, intersected and attacked toward Yuan Yi. Yuan Yi flicked his eyebrows, then sneered as he threw out his fist heavily. He did not think that throwing out 2 attacks at the same time would be that powerful. Boom! Once his fist touched the intersecting sword light, Yuan Yi immediately felt the 2 layers of power coming at him in a superimposed way. Because he was in a hurry to beat Yi Chen, his killing water fist art was not at its peak condition yet. Instead, he was at a disadvantage under this intersecting sword attack. He was blown backward, and the big red flower on his chest had been torn apart as well. How is this possible? 2 sword attacks superimposed together. How could it be this powerful? Perhaps it was rare to be able to do 2 things at the same time in the southern regions, but in the whole True Spirit continent, there were still a lot of people who could do it. Back in the Sky Martial region, Yuan Yi had seen a lot of young warriors who could do 2 things at the same time. But, it was rare for them to do so, because it would not only distract them, but the power of the superimposed attacks would also not be that powerful. Otherwise, everyone would have tried to do it already. He did not expect that Yi Chen's double sword attack would be this powerful. It was almost as powerful as his opponent's gold resonant radiance sword attack. Yi Chen did not have much of an expression on his face. He knew about the power of the double sword attack, and it was not a normal double sword attack. The Sky Thunder Cut and the reverse Sky Thunder Cut that he had created were originally from the same source. One was the front, and the other the back. The combination of the front and back was flawless, and its power was not something that could be compared with just 2 sword attacks superimposed together. After forcing back Yuan Yi with 1 sword attack, Yi Chen's body flashed like a sword light, shooting toward his opponent's blind spot. Yuan Yi was shocked as he lifted up his left arm. Chin! The gold sword landed on his left arm. So hard! This sword attack of Yi Chen's was about speed, so its power was not as powerful as his ace attacks. But, it contained the slaughter sword intent. Added with the amplification of the gold sword, even master-level Sea of Soul's realm warriors' protective Jin Yuan layer might not be able to handle it. When it landed on Yuan Ye's left arm, it was like using a knife to cut through steel. But of course, he also knew that his opponent's protective Jin Yuan had used up a lot of his power, which was one of the reasons why he could not hurt Yuan Yi. Yuan Yi was not wounded at all, but the clothes on his left arm had been completely shredded, turning into dust. How is this possible? Yi is at a disadvantage now. Yuan Jin could not believe his eyes as he stared at Yi Chen. Right then, no matter how stupid he was, he knew that Yi Chen had been hiding his power, and Yuan Hao had only forced him to use part of his power. Yi Chen is so powerful. Murong Wu and Murong Jishui looked at each other. With Yi Chen's power right now, he was not weaker than the weaker Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors. But of course, it was just not weaker. It did not mean that he had the power to battle with Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors, since Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors were powerful in all aspects. Compared to Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors, Yi Chen and Yuan Yi still had some weaknesses. It was the gap between the top Spirit Realm warriors and Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors. TSK. He is already this powerful at peak level early Sea of Souls Realm. Once he reaches mid Sea of Souls Realm, he would be able to enter the Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors, and would not be the weakest one. Being able to enter the Master Level with only mid Sea of Souls Realm. This kind of martial geniuses is rare indeed. Yeah, in the 4 regions. Li Xiaoling, one of the candidates for the second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace in the eastern region, seems to be close to it. But, he is only close. He should not be there yet. There would be 1 or 2 in the western region and the northern region. There would not be many in the Sky Martial region either. There was only 1 region between the Gulan region and the Sky Martial region. Among the people present, a lot of them had been to the Sky Martial region before, so they knew a lot about the young generation. In the sky, Yuan Yi had a bad look on his face. Although that sword attack from Yi Chen did not hurt him, it had still hurt his left arm. But, it was not the physical pain that made him angry. It was the mental attack that he could not handle. I am at peak level mid Sea of Souls Realm, and my martial spirit is at rank 4. Plus, I have the special ability to strengthen my defense. I am powerful in all aspects. Why am I losing? Whether Yuan Yi wanted to admit it or not, it was a fact that he was losing. Shoo! Using the momentum of his left arm being cut down, Yuan Yi backed out quickly. As he did, he lifted up his right hand, and a massive dark gold light ball appeared. Demon Gold Flash. Yi Chen's pupils shrank. Without even thinking, he knew that Yuan Ye's Demon Gold Flash would be even more powerful than Yuan Hao's attack. It would be unbelievably powerful, and it would be hard for him to dodge it. I have to release all of my Slaughter Sword intent now. Before Yuan Yi performed his special ability, Yi Chen had been using the Destruction Sword intent, and only then did he use the Slaughter Sword intent. Its power was around rank 5 normal sword intent. Because of his powerful soul power, the sword intent did not leak out at all. Therefore, no one knew that his Slaughter Sword spirit had already reached such a realm. If it continued to increase, it would be at peak level rank 5. No matter how good his control was, he would not be able to hide it anymore. Boom! Yuan Yi pushed out his Jin Yuan, and the dark gold light ball shot out. It turned into a beam of dark gold light, attacking toward Yi Chen at an extreme speed. Its speed was even faster than Yuan Hao's Demon Gold Flash. The dark gold light beam flashed once before disappearing. That flash of light made the sun in the sky lose its color, turning it into a black and white world. After releasing the Demon Gold Flash, a creepy look flashed through Yuan Ye's face. His special ability was defense strengthening, and his body was extremely powerful. How could he not have trained it before? Compared to Yuan Hao, he was more talented, so his achievement in training it would be much higher as well. If it were not for the fact that he was forced to do so, he would not use it at all. For him, the more ace cards he had, the better it would be. Plus, he thought that he would be able to beat Yi Chen without using it. With the Demon Gold Flash in my hands, even normal Master Level Sea of Souls Realm warriors would not be able to handle it. They would have to avoid it for a while. To be defeated by this attack, it would be your honor. Next, I will humiliate you and destroy your dignity. Yuan Yi thought to himself coldly. Down below, the Murong Jishui brothers, Wang Shi, and Yan Kuei could feel their hearts racing as they looked at Yi Chen nervously. Yao Yifeng and Yuan Jin sneered, as if they could already see Yi Chen losing. Who? Seeing that dark gold light beam approaching, Yi Chen exploded. His long black hair danced in the air as that horrifying Slaughter Sword intent shot out into the sky. This sword intent had already gone beyond his control, turning the whole place into a bleak, silent world. The sky had a dark red color, which was a sign of great danger and a massacre. Once it appeared, everything in the world would fall into a massacre, and Yi Chen was the embodiment of it. Because of the fact that he could not control the sword intent completely, it was immediately sensed by everyone present. Everyone opened their eyes wide, shocked beyond words. Impossible! This is the King Warrior sword intent. Chapter 551. The king-level sword intent was the sword intent of a life and death realm warrior, which was a rank 5 sword intent. For a Sea of Souls realm warrior to form a rank 5 sword spirit and use a rank 5 sword intent, it would only be slightly easier than reaching the life and death realm from the Sea of Souls realm. It was not hard to imagine how much of a commotion it would cause. It's indeed a king sword intent, but it shouldn't be a king sword spirit. This king sword intent contains the slaughter attribute, which can increase the power of the sword intent. But even so, it's still extremely terrifying. His slaughter sword spirit is at least a level 4 slaughter sword spirit. Before, some of the master level Sea of Souls realm warriors were only there to watch the show. But now, all of them had their eyes wide open, their faces full of disbelief. The dark gold light ray was extremely fast. While everyone was thinking about it, it had already arrived in front of Yi Chen. It looked like it could pierce through everything and destroy everything in its path. As for Yi Chen, he had started to accumulate the aura for his gold resonant radiance attack the moment he used all of his slaughter sword intent. Right then, it was done. He held the gold sword with both of his hands and threw out a powerful attack. His expression was calm, but there was still a hint of killing in it. It was as if he was treating it as a normal thing, and he was not affected at all. Swoosh! That sword attack looked normal, containing a bit of gold light. But, once the dark gold light ray touched it, a part of it was destroyed. Once the sword tip landed, the powerful sword power spread out through the sword body, shattering the dark gold light ray completely. It turned into 2 beams of light, shooting toward both sides of Yi Chen. It was as if he was a rock, and the dark gold light ray was the flowing water. When the flowing water touched the rock, it would naturally be separated. However, although the rock did not have any attacking power, Yi Chen did. After his sword had cut open the dark gold light ray, it attacked toward Yuan Yi at a shocking speed. Not good. Yuan Yi had already sensed the danger the moment Yi Chen revealed his ace attack. He was very clear about how powerful the king-level sword intent was. Not to mention the fact that Yi Chen was not weak himself, even if he were a normal Sea of Souls realm warrior, he would not be able to be underestimated. Who? That light black protective Jin Yuan layer shone with a bright green light. That light looked like it was about to condense into a halo. It added on to Yuan Ye's protective Jin Yuan layer, making it look like it had solidified. With the combination of the two, Yuan Ye's body was impenetrable. Creak! That almost completely golden sword light landed on Yuan Ye's protective Jin Yuan layer, which suddenly cracked like a piece of tempered glass. With that crack as the center, the crack started to spread out in all directions, and eventually, a huge dent was formed in the middle. The sword light had a lot of hidden power as it kept attacking, trying to break through the protective layer of Jin Yuan and hit Yuan Yi inside. Yuan Yi pushed up his Jin Yuan as well, trying his best to defend. Soon, the sword light disappeared, and Yuan Yi was unharmed. What? Didn't hurt him? Yi Chen was a bit surprised. He had already used all of his power for that sword attack. Even the protective Jin Yuan of a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior could be cut open easily. No matter how powerful Yuan Ye's defense was, it would not be that much more powerful than a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior. No! That dark green light. It seems to be the light of a great weapon. Yi Chen squeezed his eyes and released his soul power. Through Yuan Ye's clothes, Yi Chen could see a lot of weapons. There were dark green chest armor, arm guards, wrist guards, fist gloves, leg guards, and even waist guards. There were 6 types of weapons in total. Among them, the fist gloves were the attacking ones, while the rest were all defensive ones. All 6 of them had the same color, and the vibration they gave off was the same as well. It seemed like they were originally a set. It was a complete set. A set of prized artifacts, a perfect set of prized artifacts. Yi Chen finally understood why Yuan Yi was able to block out that sword attack. The reason was none other than the fact that he was wearing a full set of weapons. Normally, a full set of weapons would be able to fit all of the weapons on the body. A lot of people would be able to put together a full set of weapons, but it would only be a bit more powerful than the most powerful weapon on the body. Therefore, even if one had a full set of weapons, the increase in attack and defense would still be limited. It would only be a bit more powerful than the most powerful weapon on the body. Meanwhile, the set of items that Yuan Yi had on him was a complete set of items. Their elements matched perfectly, and they all had a deep connection with each other. Wearing all of them on him would be able to activate all of the power of the set of items, allowing all of them to combine perfectly together. Not only was Yi Chen surprised, everyone down below was shocked as well. They could tell that Yi Chen's sword attack was extremely powerful, and Yuan Yi being able to block it out was completely out of their expectation. Yi, have you been to the Treasure Holy Tower and gotten a full set of top-rank weapons? Yuan Jin was very worried before, but right now, all of that was gone, and a joyful expression flashed through his face. After cancelling out that sword light from Yi Chen, Yuan Yi laughed out loud. Yi Chen, you are indeed powerful, forcing me to use my weapons as an advantage. But, you would not have guessed that I have been to the Sky Martial region and gotten a full set of water element weapons from the Treasure Holy Tower. Each one of them is just a normal top-rank weapon, but when combined together, the defensive effect is even more powerful than a semi-extreme rank weapon. Plus, the attacking power has been increased drastically as well, allowing me to reach master level. A full set of water element top-rank weapons. Treasure Holy Tower. Everyone came to a sudden realization and were immediately overwhelmed with shock. A full set of top-rank weapons would be extremely valuable, and its value would be even more powerful than a semi-extreme rank weapon. And the Treasure Holy Tower. They all knew about this place. It was a mysterious palace that had existed for countless years. Different from the normal forbidden places, the tower was not hidden in the surreal space. Instead, it was located at a specific location, and anyone could enter at any time. However, there was a huge restriction on the tower. Only Sea of Souls Realm warriors could enter, and anyone below the Sea of Souls Realm would be killed the second they entered. Even those above the Sea of Souls Realm would not be able to enter. Although Life and Death Realm warriors were powerful, no one had ever heard of anyone being able to break through the restriction of the tower and enter. Besides that, people above 40 years old would not be able to enter either, since this tower had the ability to tell one's age. If one was older than that, he or she would be killed as well. As for what was inside the Treasure Holy Tower, just like its name suggested, it was a holy tower that gathered all the weapons. There were countless of them inside, and it was said that it had something to do with the Treasure River Island in the Star Regional Lake. The two seemed to come from the same source. However, although the Treasure River Island was very attractive, compared to the Treasure Holy Tower, it was like a cottage. The Treasure Holy Tower was one of the reasons why the Sky Martial region was the holy place for all the martial geniuses. With the Treasure Holy Tower, a lot of martial geniuses would go to the Sky Martial region when they reached the Sea of Souls realm. This Yuan Yi had entered the Treasure Holy Tower before, and he managed to bring out a set of top-rank water element weapons. He is so lucky. Unfortunately, I am already more than 40 years old. Otherwise, I would also go in and try my luck. With my master-level Sea of Souls realm power, the chance of me surviving would be huge. Without the age restriction, there would be no chance for us to get in. Back in the medieval era, all the weapons inside would have been cleaned out already, since there would not be an endless amount of weapons inside. That is true. Some of the master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors started to discuss excitedly. Oh no! Yuan Yi actually has a set of top-rank weapons that fit perfectly with each other. Murong Jishui did not look too good. Perhaps, Yi Chen still has some other hidden cards. Murong Wu said uncertainly. Murong Jishui said bitterly, he has even revealed his king-level sword intent. What other hidden cards could he have? I can only hope that this Yuan Ye's attacking power would not increase that much. Yi Chen, have a taste of this fist attack of mine. While everyone was discussing, Yuan Yi threw out a killing water fist attack toward Yi Chen. As he threw out that fist attack, an endless dark green light flowed out of his body and was infused into his fist aura. All of a sudden, the fist power increased drastically. Yi Chen did not back out at all as he welcomed it with his gold sword. Boom! The light ball exploded, and the two backed out at the same time. It is only slightly weaker than my attack, and it has the whole set of weapons to cancel it out. Yi Chen frowned. Yuan Ye's attacking power was actually slightly weaker than his, but the latter had a whole set of great items, which would be more than twice as powerful as Yi Chen's. Therefore, Yi Chen's attacks would not be able to put him at a disadvantage at all. I hope you will not get hit by me. His attacking power was catching up with Yi Chen's, and his defense was way more powerful than Yi Chen's. Yuan Yi was not worried at all. Even if Yi Chen were to attack him, he would not be afraid. As long as he managed to land an attack on Yi Chen, he would lose immediately. It meant that he was born to be unbeatable. Boom! 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 The two continued to exchange attacks, their chi power spreading out everywhere. Murong Jishui and Murong Wu both looked a bit gloomy. Yuan Ye's attacking power had also increased. Although it was not as big as his defense, his attacking power was already very powerful. Now that it had been increased, it would be even more horrifying. Even Yi Chen could not do anything to him. Boom! In the sky, the two separated again. Yi Chen, you will not be able to beat me. Just leave the Yuan family quietly. Otherwise, I will not let you have any face left. Yuan Yi was secretly shocked at Yi Chen's battling technique. During this time, they had exchanged hundreds of attacks, but he had not managed to land a single hit on Yi Chen. Instead, he had been hit by Yi Chen a couple of times. If it were not for his whole set of weapons, even if he was not wounded badly, he would not feel good at all. Plus, activating a whole set of weapons would cost a lot of Jin Yuan. Although his cultivation was higher than Yi Chen's, he might not be able to last until the end. Yi Chen said coldly, "Is this all you have?" "What? Are you still thinking about it?" Yuan Yi sneered. "Whether or not I am thinking about it, we will know soon enough." Actually, in order to beat Yuan Yi, Yi Chen had two options. One was to take out his semi-extreme rank great sword, the Thunder Disaster Sword. With it, even if his opponent had a whole set of weapons, he would not be able to handle it. The second option was to perform his void-shattering finger art, which was extremely powerful in breaking through Jin Yuan. It would also be able to break through his opponent's defense. But after thinking about it, he decided that he could not expose his Thunder Disaster Sword. Once he used it, he did not know how many people would want to get their hands on it. It would be troublesome. Although using his void-shattering finger art would expose his most powerful ace attack, it would not cause too much trouble. At most, people would know about it. With that thought in mind, Yi Chen put his gold sword back into its scabbard. He reached out his right index finger and poured his Jin Yuan into it. Woo! That finger of his was extremely long. As the Jin Yuan poured in, the edge of his finger started to have a space pattern. It seemed like even the surreal space could not handle the power of this finger. What kind of finger art is this? Yuan Yi squinted his eyes slightly. His instinct told him that this finger was very dangerous and should not be underestimated. But, after thinking about it for a while, he sneered inwardly. If a whole set of weapons were so easy to break, why would he risk his life to enter the tower? Come on. Watch me shatter your belief. Right now, his ace had been used up, but his opponent still had more. The continuous attacks had made his mental state very weak, and he was close to losing his mind. He really has a trump card. Murong Wu mumbled unconsciously. Murong Jishui was completely stunned. What kind of young warrior was this? Every time his opponent was about to make a comeback, he would beat him down. If it were him, he would not feel good either, not to mention Yuan Yi, who had always been cruel. Ranked first in the Hidden Dragon rank at the age of 18, his name spread across the entire southern region at the age of 21, becoming one of the top 4 young warriors. At the age of 23, he had dominated the whole southern region's young generation. At the age of 24, he had beaten Yuan Yi, who was 1 generation older than him. Is this his hidden power? Murong Jishui had finally understood why this young man had been able to show more and more power since he had risen to the top. It was not only because of his great talent, but also because he knew how to be patient. He would not reveal his ace cards until the critical moment, and he would never be satisfied. No one knew if he still had more ace cards or not. Scary. The young warriors who are living in the same era as him should be worried now. Right then, Murong Jishui had been completely convinced by Yi Chen. It had nothing to do with power or status, but Yi Chen's horrifying mentality and potential. He had a feeling that even if he went up there himself, he might not be able to do anything to Yi Chen. This was an unpredictable young man, like a huge dragon hiding in the abyss. Anyone who dared to challenge him would be torn apart by his claws. Our brother disciple Yi is not just a normal kind of horrifying. Wang Shi and Yan Kuei were both spirit realm experts. The first time they met Yi Chen, he was only a weak astral reaching realm warrior. The second time they met him, his cultivation base was already not that much lower than theirs, and his power was even more powerful than theirs. For no reason at all, the two felt very lucky. They were lucky that they had always treated Yi Chen as their brother disciple, and did not have any other thoughts. Although they did not have any thoughts, it did not mean that they would be indifferent to everything. As the saying goes, a big tree is a good shade. Yi Chen, this little sapling, had already grown up. It was not like they did not get anything in return for befriending Yi Chen. Of course, they did not think of anything in the first place. Yao Feng is out of luck. Wang Shi glanced at Yao Feng sympathetically. Speaking of which, as the second leader of the Yellow Dragon Palace, Yao Feng should have been on good terms with Yi Chen. Unfortunately, for his own benefit, he did not care that Yi Chen was a martial genius that the Dragon King valued. He had tried to make things difficult for him, which had completely pissed him off. It would not take him long to regret his decision. You can do whatever you want, but you can't do anything about it. Yan Kuei sneered. Without noticing Wang Shi and Yan Kuei's weird expressions, Yao Feng was very annoyed right now. In fact, ever since Yi Chen beat Yuan Hao, he had been feeling uncomfortable. The more powerful Yi Chen was, the more he hated him. It was also because of fear, the fear that Yi Chen would surpass him and take revenge on him. Right now, Yi Chen had beaten Yuan Yi, showing power that was not weaker than normal Sea of Souls realm master-level warriors. His annoyance had reached its peak, and killing intent had started to form. Yi Chen, I admit that I was a bit short-sighted. But, if you still want to hate me, then don't blame me. The chance of survival is in your hands. Yao Feng had a bad look on his face as his eyes flickered. Little Yi was injured. Yuan Jin's mood was just like the situation of the battle. It had been full of twists and turns, and his attitude of being in control of everything had disappeared completely. All that was left was anxiety and anger. If I had known this earlier, I would have stopped him at all costs. Yuan Jin was very regretful. He regretted that he did not pay enough attention to Yi Chen. If he knew that Yi Chen was about to come to the Gulan region and the Yuan family, he would have used all of his resources to stop him. Then, the situation would not have turned out like this. It was all because he had underestimated Yi Chen's power. Damn it! Yi cannot lose. Tightening his fists, a sharp light shot out of Yuan Jin's eyes. Wah! Puking out another mouthful of blood, Yuan Ye's face was extremely pale. I have not lost yet. This finger art of yours must have consumed a lot of Jin Yuan. Let's see who can last until the end. After performing his special power, Yuan Ye's body was extremely powerful. The wound that the void-shattering finger art had brought to him would not affect his battling power too much. Plus, at this point, he would not allow himself to fail, since it would be a huge blow to him. Not long ago, he had said that he had 120% chance of winning, and that he would be able to kill Yi Chen like a dog. But now that the situation had turned around, how could he let it go? He could tell that the void-shattering finger art would consume a lot of Jin Yuan. As long as he could last a couple of times, he would be able to beat Yi Chen completely and step on him. That finger attack was just a test. If you choose to continue, then you will have to face a bigger consequence. Yi Chen had thought it through very clearly. Killing Yuan Yi right here would be very troublesome. Therefore, he did not perform his void-shattering finger art to its limit, since he was afraid that he might accidentally cripple or kill Yuan Yi. So, he decided to test his opponent's bottom line first. Without wasting time, Yi Chen pointed out his index finger and performed another void-shattering finger art. Pop! The blue finger broke through the space and was like a deadly finger, easily landing on Yuan Ye's newly formed protective Jin Yuan. The second the blue finger touched his protective Jin Yuan, a deep finger mark appeared on that crystallized layer. The power of this void-shattering finger art was even more powerful than before. The protective Jin Yuan that Yuan Yi had spent a lot of effort to build up had been shattered, and a trace of hatred appeared in his eyes. He hated it so much. Losing to Yi Chen meant that he had completely lost the battle for the woman. If this news got out, how would the others think of him? This kind of blow was driving him crazy. Lose now. Yi Chen did not use his void-shattering finger art. If he used it for the third time, Yuan Yi would die for sure. So, he flashed his body and took out his gold sword, stabbing out. Yi Chen, give our Yuan family some face. Pretend that you have lost the battle. After this, our Yuan family will reward you handsomely. I believe you would not want to turn against our Yuan family completely. Right at the second when Yi Chen's sword was about to pierce into Yuan Ye's body, Yuan Jin passed on his Jin Yuan to Yi Chen. His tone was a bit hurried, but there was also a hint of threat in it. Yi Chen sneered. Now that things had come to this, she still wanted to threaten him. Pushing out his Jin Yuan, Yi Chen stabbed his sword into Yuan Ye's chest. The sword light went through and shot out from his back, covering the whole area in gold. Down below, Murong Jishui took a deep breath. It was finally over. Bastard! Yuan Jin's eyes were red. At this critical moment, he had already let go of his pride and promised to reward his opponent. But the latter did not give any face to the Yuan family at all. Instead, he had stabbed through Yuan Ye's body, which would at least make him bedridden for a couple of months. Since he does not want to give me face, why should I? Shoo! Yuan Jin shot up into the sky, approaching Yi Chen at an unimaginable speed. Yi Chen, it was only a battle, but you are already so cruel. I will teach you a lesson for the Dragon God Heaven Palace. Piss off now. Old bastard Yuan, you are so shameless. Murong Jishui's eyebrows flicked as an extreme anger flashed through his eyes. The second Yuan Jin moved, he had already chased after him, leaving behind layers of water shadow behind him. How dare you? Go back! The powerful warriors of the Yuan family jumped out, blocking the furious Murong Jishui. The leading warrior was a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior. He exchanged an attack with Murong Jishui and managed to stop him from saving Yi Chen. Damn! How dare you bully my brother disciple Yi? Wang Shi and Yan Kuei could not stay calm anymore. The two of them moved out together, attacking toward the powerful warriors of the Yuan family. All of a sudden, the plaza of the Yuan family turned into a mess. Chapter 553. As an experienced master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior, Yuan Jin's explosiveness was extremely horrifying. While he was flying, a purple gold light appeared on his body. It was like a dragon or a snake, almost materialized. It carried Yuan Jin's body and shot out, arriving not far away from Yi Chen within a blink of an eye. "You brat!" Yuan Jin lifted up his palm and attacked toward Yi Chen. Although it was just a normal low-rank profound sense martial art, it was extremely powerful when it landed on Yuan Jin's hand. As he pushed out his palm power, a massive purple gold light palm expanded rapidly, covering the space where Yi Chen and Yi Chen were. One finger shattering void. Yi Chen's pupils shrank. Yuan Jin's palm attack was not weaker than the Iron Palm Master who had appeared on the Treasure River Island. The title of the Iron Palm Master contained the word palm, so naturally, his palm art was the most powerful one. But Yuan Jin's palm art was not weaker than his, which meant that his overall power might be even more powerful than the Iron Palm Master. Without thinking too much, Yi Chen endured the mountain-shattering palm pressure and stabbed out with his right index finger. Boom! The purple gold light palm and the blue finger clashed together. The two seemed to be mortal enemies as they clashed against each other crazily, bringing up layers after layers of blasting waves. The blasting waves were all different in color. It was purple gold for a second, then blue, then purple and blue. It blew Yuan Yi, who was already wounded badly, a couple of miles away. He puked out a mouthful of blood and fainted right after Yuan Hao. Because Yuan Jin was too angry, he had forgotten about Yuan Yi, which made him even more wounded. At the same time, he hated Yi Chen to the core. His palm power suddenly increased by 30%. The purple gold light palm pushed forward aggressively, shattering the blue finger. Sword light flying spell. Yi Chen was already prepared for it. He took back the Zhen Yuan outside of his body, and waves of sword light shone. With a flash, he flew out 10 miles within a second. Because the power of the purple gold light palm had been cancelled out by the blue finger, its speed had been drastically reduced. It did not manage to catch up with Yi Chen, but did manage to destroy a lot of buildings in the Yuan family. Little brat, do you really think you are a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior? Yuan Jin's eyes were cold as he locked onto Yi Chen, who was 10 miles away from him. He flicked his fingers, shooting out beams of purple gold light. These purple gold light beams contained the profound of gold, and their penetrative power was unparalleled. Countless purple gold light beams interweaved with each other, causing space ripples to spread out like a giant net. Anyone who fell into the net would be greatly affected, like a flying insect caught in a net. Seeing the huge net that was formed by the purple gold light, Yi Chen maintained his flying back while using his Lotus Heart Sword Chi to defend against it. All of a sudden, one side was the purple gold net, while the other side was the blue one. The two huge nets clashed together. Pitter-patter. Countless beautiful fireworks bloomed, and the sky seemed to be ignited. Seeing this, Yuan Jin's face darkened. Although he was an experienced master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior, it would still be impossible for him to kill Yi Chen with only one attack. Yi Chen's power was not that important, but that kind of control he had over the battle had shocked even him, not to mention that they were still 10 miles away from each other. Ha! I would like to see how you are going to dodge this time. Yuan Jin was ready to use his mid-rank profound sense martial arts. Different from Yuan Yi, Yuan Jin's mid-rank profound sense martial arts had already reached 80% completion, and was not that far away from completion. With his late Sea of Souls realm cultivation, its power could only be described as horrifying. Taking a deep breath, Yuan Jin's face was covered in purple gold chi. Purple gold represented nobility, but when it appeared on Yuan Jin's face, it added an evil aura. He put his tongue on top of his mouth, and the Zhen Yuan inside his body started to circulate at twice the normal speed. Eventually, it all poured into his right arm, following the meridians of his right arm and reaching the center of his fist. As waves of Zhen Yuan poured in and compressed, Yuan Jin's fist turned into a purple gold color, looking like it was made of pure purple gold, full of horrifying power. Flowing gold godly fist. Yelling, Yuan Jin threw out a punch toward Yi Chen who was 10 miles away. Boom! The air was blown up all of a sudden, and the space pattern spread out. That purple gold fist power turned into a tornado, shooting out at an extreme speed. Along the way, the fist power started to scatter, turning into countless golden blades that looked like crescent moon. The golden blades were arranged in an orderly manner, forming into a dozens of meters wide hemisphere. Yi Chen frowned. He could tell that each of those golden blades had the power of a low-rank profound sense martial art. With this many of them shooting at him, even a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior would have to dodge out of the way. Yi Chen was barely a master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior, so he naturally would not be able to handle it. Yuan Jin, you are indeed shameless. A human figure suddenly appeared right in front of Yi Chen. It was indeed Murong Jishui. The Yuan family warrior who tried to stop him was only a normal master-level Sea of Souls realm warrior. Under Murong Jishui's full power attack, he was blown away within 3 attacks. Besides master-level Sea of Souls realm warriors, who else could stop him? Boom! 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 The golden blades were blocked out by a swirl barrier. Waiting until the last golden blade bounced out, the swirl barrier suddenly disappeared, and Murong Jishui's face looked a bit pale. Time was running out, so Murong Jishui could only perform a low-rank defensive profound sense martial art. Facing Yuan Jin's mid-rank profound sense martial art, he was still at a disadvantage. But of course, his opponent was still worried about Murong Jishui, so he did not dare to kill him. Otherwise, even Murong Jishui would not be able to handle it. Murong Jishui. Yuan Jin did not look friendly at all. Murong Jishui was still not scared. Yuan Jin, what you have done today will bring a lot of harm to the Yuan family. I hope you know it yourself. This brat had stopped the wedding so many times and wounded 2 of my sons. Why can't I teach him a lesson? But you, how dare you fight against our Yuan family? The demi-demon family does not belong to your Yuan family. Your Yuan family does not have the right to do anything to our Murong family. Ha! No matter what you say, it will be useless. This time, I will lock you up in the Yuan family. If you dare to go against me, I will kill you without mercy. Yuan Jin did not dare to kill Yi Chen, but it did not mean that he would not dare to kill Murong Jishui. Killing Murong Jishui would be an internal matter of the demi-demon family, and the Dragon God's celestial palace would not be able to interfere. Yi Chen flew right next to Murong Jishui, looking straight at Yuan Jin as he said coldly, Yuan Jin, you were the one who agreed for me to battle with your sons. Am I right? So what? You suddenly attacked me. What is the meaning of this? Do you really think that I am easy to bully? Or should I say, I will not hold you responsible for this. Battling with each other. I did not say anything about wounding the opponent. Don't you think what you have done is cruel? Yuan Jin's words were flawless, like an old fox who was furious but still calm. Yi Chen sneered, sorry, I admit that this was a battle, but not a battle. Since it is a battle, injuries are inevitable. I think it is your Yuan family who cannot afford to lose. Brat Yi, although you are a martial genius favored by the Dragon King, as long as you do not become a life and death realm warrior, you better not be too arrogant. Yuan Jin stared at Yi Chen with an evil look, his eyes containing a powerful mental pressure. Yi Chen ignored the threat, arrogant. It seems like only your Yuan family is worthy of this title. You 3, father and son, have you never felt that what you have done is arrogant? Presumptuous. Right now, what Yuan Jin hated the most was the fact that the Dragon King favored Yi Chen the most, which led to his hatred toward the Dragon God's celestial palace. Without the Dragon King and the Dragon God's celestial palace, killing Yi Chen would be like killing a dog to him. There would be no need for him to spend so much effort to stop them. Martial geniuses die easily. You better be careful. After saying that with a low voice, Yuan Jin flew down toward the plaza. Yi Chen and Murong Jishui exchanged a look before landing down as well. Seeing that Yi Chen had returned, Wang Shi and Yan Kuei both stopped what they were doing. Around them, there were a couple of people who were staring at the two angrily, all of whom were slightly wounded. Brother Yi, are you all right? Wang Shi asked. Yi Chen shook his head, thank you, brother and sister, for your help. Hee hee, we are brother disciples after all. Wang Shi laughed. Right next to him, Yan Kuei spat on the ground. Pooh! This old dog Yuan is so shameless. His son could not beat you, so he decided to do it himself. Yi Chen looked at Murong Qingcheng with a serious look, then said to Yuan Jin, do you still remember the promise we made before? Right now, let go of Murong Qingcheng's secret spell. Ha! Of course I remember. With so many people here, no matter how shameless Yuan Jin was, he would not go back on his word. Otherwise, within a couple of days, his shameless behavior would be spread all over the Gulan region, and even the other regions. Glancing at Yuan Yi, who was still unconscious, Yuan Jin walked behind Murong Qingcheng. He pressed his palm in the air, and countless gold light balls shot into her body. Ah! Making a slight noise, Murong Qingcheng regained her consciousness. Lifting up the red silk cloth, Murong Qingcheng saw Murong Jishui and Yi Chen. A joyful expression flashed through her face. Father, Yi Chen. Murong Jishui said hurriedly, Qingcheng, they did not do anything to you, did they? Murong Qingcheng shook her head. Oh right, where is your mother? Murong Qingcheng frowned and said, before my Jin Yuan and consciousness were sealed, my mother was invited by a woman from the Yuan family. A woman? Murong Jishui seemed to have thought of something. Moving her eyes away from her father, Murong Qingcheng looked at Yi Chen. Although her movement and speech had been sealed, she could still hear and feel everything that Yi Chen had done. So, when Yuan Jin attacked Yi Chen, she was very worried, but luckily, nothing happened. Yi Chen smiled at Murong Qingcheng. Just when he was about to say something, a woman's voice was heard, very crisp. Jishui. From the corner of a building not too far away, two extremely beautiful women walked over together. The one on the left was wearing a dark green long dress, looking very elegant. She was about 38 or 39 years old, and the one on the right was wearing a light yellow dress. Her appearance was no less beautiful than the former, but it was indeed her who had spoken. Seeing the latter, Murong Jishui froze. Yan Shiner. He would never forget this woman. This woman used to be the woman he loved the most, and he would occasionally see her in his dreams. Chapter 554. So, this is the first girlfriend that Uncle Murong had mentioned? Yi Chen's eyes landed on the two girls. It was easy for him to tell who Murong Qingcheng's mother was, since they were mother and daughter after all. Both their looks and temperament were quite similar, which was something that could not be hidden. After knowing who Murong Qingcheng's mother was, the identity of the other girl would be obvious as well. Su Ruhui saw Murong Jishui's expression and made a face. But, she did not say anything. She stood together with Murong Qingcheng and started to talk in a low voice. It has been so many years. How have you been? For the past 30 years, Murong Jishui had been wanting to say this. Today, he finally had the chance to say it. However, he did not know why he did not want to say it the first time he saw the girl. Saying it out loud was just a subconscious action. The girl named Yan Shiner stayed silent for a while before nodding slightly. A bitter smile appeared on Murong Jishui's face. All right, as long as I am doing well. I have no regrets anymore. After separating from you, I was in so much pain until Ruhui appeared in front of me. Hearing Murong Jishui mention her name, Su Ruhui was a bit happy. She pretended that she did not hear anything and continued to talk with Murong Qingcheng. Hearing him, Yan Shiner felt a bit uneasy for a second. It was this 1 second of uneasiness that had caught Yi Chen's attention. He could see the dissatisfaction, jealousy, and anger in her eyes, which did not match her beautiful appearance at all. Glancing at Murong Jishui, Yi Chen thought to himself, Uncle, I am afraid that your first girlfriend has changed. Sister-in-law, this is your future niece-in-law. Her name is Murong Qingcheng. Right then, Yuan Jin suddenly spoke. The reason why he called Yan Shiner his sister-in-law was because she had married his second brother, Yuan Xiong. Yuan Xiong was not in the Yuan family right now, as he had gone out for some business. He would only be back in 2 to 3 months. Originally, that would be the day of Yuan Ye's wedding, but it had been brought forward by 3 months. Yan Shina moved her eyes away from Murong Jishui and landed on Murong Qingcheng, who was standing next to Su Ruhui. A surprised expression flashed through her face, since it was the first time she had seen Murong Qingcheng. She had to admit that this girl's appearance and temperament were extremely rare. There should be people who were as beautiful as her, but she had never seen or heard of anyone who was more beautiful than her. Xianhou might be able to surpass her, but Xianhou was still a life and death realm warrior after all. This was Shi Sui and his daughter. Yan Shiner squeezed her lips, then laughed and said, "Brother, Yi is quite lucky to have such a beautiful fiancée. Together with him, they would be a perfect match. As his second aunt, I am happy for him as well." "Oh right, why don't we continue with the wedding?" Yuan Jin glanced at Murong Jishui. Someone did not agree, so I could not do anything about it. Yi and Hao were wounded as well, and they are still unconscious. Who dares to wound Yi and Hao? Yan Shiner flicked her eyebrows. "Indeed, it is me." Yi Chen did not need to wait for her to say it out, so he just admitted it himself. Yan Shiner glanced at Yi Chen. "Do you know that the members of the demi-demon family will not marry outsiders? So, it is impossible for you and her to be together. If you just let it go, it would be good for both sides. Why do you have to break up a couple? Whether they are a couple or not, you should be clear about it. If they are a couple, then no one would be able to break them up. If they are not a couple, then there is no need to break them up, since they were separated in the first place. I was only doing what I was supposed to do. The one who should let it go should be the Yuan family." Yan Shiner said lightly, "No one is meant to be together. There has to be a process of getting to know each other. Both of them have the perfect demi-demon bloodline, so they will be attracted to each other in the future. But, that is, if you do not come and ruin it." Yi Chen could not help but laugh. This woman was a bit unreasonable. Based on what you have said, a man and a woman would be a couple. On the other hand, breaking up a couple and putting one of them together with another person with a different surname would also make them a couple. So, what you have said is basically nothing. You are quite eloquent. But, you seem to have forgotten that they had already set the wedding date 2 years ago, and you are an outsider. Yi Chen glanced at Murong Jishui. This wedding date was forced by the Yuan family. You should know about it. So, I will not explain it to you. Yan Shiner sucked in a deep breath. She had underestimated Yi Chen a bit. This young man was not as simple as he looked. His tone was very calm, but it was sharp like a sword qi. Looking over at Murong Jishui, Yan Shiner frowned. "Are you still angry about what happened back then?" "Actually, it is all in the past now. No matter what, it will not go back. If you do not want your daughter to marry into the Yuan family because of this, then you do not have to." Murong Jishui looked a bit surprised, as if he could not believe that these words were coming out of Yan Shiner's mouth. Somehow, he seemed to have understood something, so he said, "I would not joke about my daughter's happiness. If my daughter and the Yuan family people were in love, then I would not say anything and agree right away. But, if it was forced, then I, as her father, would definitely not just stand there and watch it." "You really think so?" Yan Shiner did not seem to believe him. Murong Jishui said with a clear look, "Of course. About what happened back then, do you still hate me?" "Of course, I do, but that kind of feeling has faded away a long time ago. Just like you said, it is all in the past now. No matter what, it will not go back. Plus, Ruhui and I are living a good life. Losing her would be the most painful thing for me. Therefore, what happened back then has nothing to do with this." Su Ruhui did not open her mouth the whole time. When the man was talking, the woman would just stand there and watch. Even if the love rival was right in front of her, she would still have to endure it. Hearing Murong Jishui's last sentence, her face lit up. The knot in her heart seemed to have disappeared all of a sudden, and her whole body felt relaxed. All these years, she had always known that there was someone else in Morong Jishue's heart. She had been troubled and frustrated before. This time, she had gone to the Yuan family with her daughter just to see that woman. When she saw her, she secretly compared herself to her and thought that she would not be weaker than her. Right now, after hearing Morong Jishue's words, she also realized that there was indeed someone else in Morong Jishue's heart. But, just like her, it was a knot in his heart. Actually, there was no longer any feelings, only memories. Now that they had seen each other, and both of them had changed, the memories had disappeared naturally, and the knot in his heart had disappeared as well. She knew clearly that from now on, she would be the only one in Morong Jishue's heart. Without any reason, Su Ruhui was glad that the two of them had met. If they had not met, she did not know how much longer she would have been troubled. Yan Xiner's expression suddenly looked a bit bad for no reason at all. No one knew why she was upset, or why she would be upset after hearing one sentence from Morong Jishue. Back in the day, she and Morong Jishue were indeed in love with each other, and it was very sweet until Yuan Xiong fell in love with her. To be honest, she did not dislike Yuan Xiong at all. Therefore, she had been moved once. When she was being pressured by the Yuan family, other than the reluctance to let go of Morong Jishue, there was nothing else. After marrying into the Yuan family, her status had risen drastically. She had been living a pampered life, and after a long time, her mentality had changed. Occasionally, she would hear that Morong Jishue's cultivation had improved drastically after they had parted ways. He was just a slightly talented martial genius, but now, he had grown into a famous martial genius. She was secretly happy about it. The man she used to be, and the man she was with right now, were both very talented. It was her happiness to be fought over by the two of them. This time, she thought that she would be able to see Morong Jishue's unwilling expression, as well as his love for her. But, she was disappointed. Besides the excitement of meeting him for the first time, the rest of his expression was very calm. There is only one antidote. If you say no, I will destroy it right on the spot, and your mother will die because of you. Think about it carefully. Do not disappoint me and your mother. Hearing him, Morong Qingqing's expression changed drastically. She was shocked and angry. She looked at her mother, then looked at Yi Chen. She seemed to be struggling. At the same time, Yi Chen's expression changed as well. His silver pupils were cold and emotionless. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.